Yo guys, it's been a while, but thank you for staying subscribed to this channel. I just wanted to show you guys the power of AI right now. Claude Code is one of the greatest inventions ever created in the history of humankind. And it's just getting better and better and better. So basically I created this entire content creation factory that works for me for BusyWorks Beats. Now, does it do video for me? Not necessarily. It can do video, but the video I do, it doesn't do that specifically. So that's the only thing it doesn't do is the actual content. But what it does is it helps you guys amplify your content. So instead of spending 2 hours on a YouTube thumbnail, it does it for you. Instead of doing the market research, it takes 2 hours, it does it for you. Instead of trying to figure out the market trends, it does it for you. You can even manage your business on the back end. I haven't set this up yet, so this is all mock data, but it has the dashboard analytics area, customer support area. You even have an automated cash flow area, the SOPs and docs for your team. Okay, so it goes very deep. This isn't built out yet, so we're probably just going to look at that tab, but it's not all the way built out. But I'm just showing you guys what you can build with AI. I think there's a narrative going around that AI is just a waste and it's slop, but that is the furthest thing from the truth. So let me just show you guys an example of where we're at with this specific app. Now, this is an app that I built on my computer using nothing but Claude Code, just going back and forth, telling it to build different features and using certain references. So here is the app. And it's done so many thumbnails for me. Now, the way this works on the back end is this app doesn't do thumbnails what's called locally on your computer. It basically sends what's called an API call over to companies like Google, for example, and we get to leverage Google's technology inside of our own app. So it does cost money to actually generate these thumbnails. But what it does is it basically takes the psychological thinking out of trying to come up with concepts for your thumbnail. Not saying that you guys need this, but this is for me. I just need to move fast. You know, I have video ideas and I need them to go out fast. So, you know, from the beginning, and it also has a system to where I can hit the like button on my thumbnail and it will basically start catering to that specific style. So over time, you guys can see all these different styles of thumbnails that it did. So let me just show you guys the workflow and how powerful a system like this is. I would highly recommend you guys look at AI for building you internal apps that make your business even better. That's the part that nobody's talking about, is how to use this, not to just, you know, create Twitter posts, but how do you use this to make your internal business better? That's the part that nobody's really explaining. Okay, so let's go through the workflow. So firstly, I have a whole thing to where if I click Content Factory, I could have it generate ideas for me. Let me just show you guys how this works real quick. So I could hit generate 3 ideas. And what this will do is look at the market research, the data, and my audience data, and basically come up with concepts. It comes up with a psychological hook. It comes up with a thumbnail idea, and it's generating the description and the tags as well. So all I have to do is just copy the description, copy the tags right here. And again, if I like this style, I can click this little thumbs up arrow. And if I want to upscale the thumbnail for higher definition, I can click 4K upscale as well. Okay, so, and it lets you download this straight to your computer. And I forget what this button even does. What does this do here? It doesn't say. So let me let these generate. So here it says, now what I gave the system on the back end is basically a picture of myself in a hoodie that I want to wear in almost every thumbnail. And I said, and I gave it different settings in the back end to tell me, or to put me into every thumbnail. So basically I don't have to repose every single thumbnail idea. I don't have to like go into Photoshop at all. Okay, so this one says my first beat. That's actually a dope idea. So what we're gonna do is upscale this and smash the like button so that it knows. So, and again, we could download this as well. So we can click on this and it will take us to the canvas area. So here's another one. It says, if crank that was drill. That's actually a hilarious idea. Okay, so that gives me a remix idea. So I don't have to think of ideas. I already know I can execute these ideas. I've been training for years on this stuff. It's just a matter of novelty that my audience wants, and I need ideas that I can't even think of in my mind. So that's what this machine is for. Of course, we're going to keep our finger on the pulse in terms of the culture and the moving market, but in terms of novel ideas, this is what I treat my machine as. So here I'm going to like this idea as well, and we can click inside there to edit, and then here it says 60-second beat, and I have a new plugin called the BusyWorks Beats Beat Timer. And it also gives you a score on how viral this will be. So 100 out of 100, it says for this one. So what I would do and recommend for myself is to, so the upscale message just popped up. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but if you click upscale, it's working in the background to upscale this thumbnail. So I'll do it for this one as well. Now that sends an API call over to Topaz. But again, when you talk to Claude Code, it's not complicated. all you have to do is just ask it, hey, how do I insert an upscaler into my app? How do I insert Google's Nano Banana 2 or Pro? I forget which one's the latest one. Nano Banana Pro, I think, is the latest one. How do I insert that into my, or Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2? How do I implement that into my software? And it will give you all the instructions on how to create an API key. It sounds more complicated than what it is. Okay, you grab the API key, you paste it into Claude, it implements it for you on the back end, so you don't have to even do the coding for the API key. So here we have 60-second beat, and then it's a question, and then it has a timer, and then it has an emotion for the face. So everything is done for you. And let's say I click on here, we'll open up what's called the editor, the canvas, so I can ask it further things here. And if we go out of here and go to thumbnails, for example, it will have all these thumbnails saved. So it should have, I don't know. Now, what I need to do is make sure when it upscales from this view that these are saved in a certain category. Let me check my folder. Okay, so I found an area where I can improve. So for example, in the content factory, when it said upscale, I don't know where it put the file. So I'm going to tell it, going back in the history, it doesn't show my thumbnail, which it usually does. And there was the upscaled version wasn't stored anywhere. So that's probably why it shows this blank canvas here. Okay, and then we open up the other ones and it doesn't open it. So I would just tell Claude, fix the history of the pictures here and make sure the upscales are sent to our thumbnail tab. And you just slowly, incrementally improve your app over time. So if I click here where it says edit, maybe this is the 4K version, but let's just click upscale one more time. Now this is costing real money. So I don't know how much per request it would cost, but it saves me hours and hours and hours of time making thumbnails. So as that's upscaling, we should be able to go out. I think I told it I needed to upscale in the background. So we should be able to go back and forth until that's done. We'll go to this one, for example, and hit upscale. So here's the upscaled version. Now put it in the wrong chat, which I told it before, it put stuff in the wrong chat, but these are little things that we could just communicate with Claude. So this is the upscaled version. Let's do it for this one as well. Upscaled, and let's see if it added the other thumbnail to the other chat. So there are little things here and there, but they're small use cases. So you guys can see it still says upscaling even though it's already done. So little stuff like that, you just go back and forth with Claude. But I just want to show you guys, this is the power of AI. It literally created this entire interface that looks super modern. It made a whole app icon in my dock area, so I could just click there and just load the app. I didn't even go through all the features. For example, let me just show you guys. I have a templates area where it goes through the market. It looks at the top trending videos. You could do it by topic. You could do it by how many views something has, or do it by market gap. Basically, this market gap is probably the best opportunity zone. And then you could scroll down and have different templates. So for example, I have templatized different thumbnails. So if I click on this thumbnail, for example, I can click this button that says templatize. So I can go into the templates area, scroll down, and I can click one of these wired frame characters. And what does this say? Shocked, intense, templatize. So I don't know. So it's saying generate wireframe. So I got to figure out what this workflow is, but basically, you click on here, you go into the edit zone, which is in the thumbnail area. Okay, you click on one of these. Let's just click this one, and it can swap out characters. So for example, let me just show you guys a little demo. And again, I'm still working on this whole thing. So there's little things here and there, but I have my assets organized. So for example, I have a bunch of images in the software, but I have it separated by myself, my clothes. I have it separated by gear, logos, different things that I want. I might even add a section for celebrity so that I can quickly sort through every picture and put it into buckets. So for example, if I wanted some kind of gear in here, I might find, let me see, let's put in like, I don't know, let's put in the CL1B, for example. And I could say replace me with the subject, and I forgot to add another person in here. So I don't have another person. So we gotta, actually let's just use the Reddit logo because it looks like a face, and replace the Don Tolliver subject with the Reddit logo and change, and then we'll say, now there's basically an area where in the settings you can actually have preset prompts, so you don't have to prompt it every single time. So I have certain settings that it does every single time. I'll show you guys in a second. So this is Don Tolliver for, and then we'll just put the name. Now that's all we should have to do. So basically I'm telling Google to look at this whole thumbnail, give it a picture of me. I said replace me with the subject, which is this Let me be clear though, subject with the hoodie, just to be clear, and replace the Don Tolliver subject. All right, so this should replace him with the logo and the beat maker with myself. So that's what it should do. And I'll show you guys some of the settings that I have. All right, so here's the settings area. So you have the overview of the image generation and the quality you want, whether it's faster or whether you want the high quality one. And it also has a notification settings. In the settings, here's where we manage the local AI models for the chat, which we didn't get into. But you guys can see how like this is built specifically for BusyWorks Beats. And I'm sure I could franchise this across different businesses, but the app is not fully done just yet. Okay, the download location for the thumbnails, and then we have local AI models. Like I said, here's the identity section where you basically tell it which image is you from your asset library, and then which clothes that we're trying to wear. So it's a very specific outfit that I want my character to wear. Here's the brain kit where it focuses on these colors, okay? And then you kind of tell it what it is. I think it autofilled this for me, so we didn't have to do a bunch of stuff. And here's the main area, is the macro prompt. So the macro prompt is a prompt that gets prompted even if I don't type that in the prompt area that I just showed you guys. It will basically do this every single time. So things like, for example, make the text not exceed 5% of the entire thumbnail. Then it said straight white teeth, upscale to maximum resolution, no extra fingers, no web skin. So when we use these templates, the wireframe templates, it won't give us like web skin by accident. So here's the exact example of what I just showed you guys. It replaced. Now I need to fix the history because now we can't see the other history. So now we have to go back and figure out, maybe the template doesn't have a history. So now I know another little catch is to insert the thumbnail the template where we started. But it did exactly what we wanted, which was this. So from here, I'm just going to upscale this. And now we have a new thumbnail idea just like that. And it's just, the cool thing is it doesn't just do thumbnails, it gives you ideas and thumbnails, and it does it very quickly. Okay, so I think we upscaled this. I'm not sure if that got caught hanging or not. It seems like it got caught hanging there. Not a big deal. But what I could do, for example, is go to the actual company that I'm using the API from and look at the history. Let me see if I can find that. And it could just also be in a different chat. Like for example, the upscale from the Reddit one ended up here. So I have to go back over here and figure out if I was in a different chat, maybe that's why it saved in a different location, potentially. So just small little bugs like that, I just got to figure out. That's not a big deal. All right, but let's see one more. Okay, so that one upscale got lost. But worst case scenario, what you would do is you go to your API host. In this case, I'm using file.ai. So it should have a history, a log of our API calls. All right, here we can see all the API calls that I'm hosting through file.ai. You go to generate, go to recent history, for example, and we should be able to see the things that got lost in translation. So for example, I think we got this one, but let's just re-download that just in case. And what else did we do 7 minutes ago? Seems like a long time ago. All right, so here's the upscale that got lost, for example. So let's download this one. All right, so worst case scenario, if the chat, glitches for whatever reason, we can always go to the source API and figure out, how to do it. And it even has the name of our command center right here, and it cost me 8 cents, okay, to make a thumbnail. Which you try to get a thumbnail for 8 cents, you're going to be paying $80 to these graphic designers. I'm not saying people aren't worth investing in. I'm just saying that we got a thumbnail in a matter of minutes, okay, seconds actually. And this is the type of stuff that is super valuable for content creators, and this is how we're going to market our business, is through content. So it only makes sense to build something to make it easier for yourself. So I just recommend you guys, instead of demonizing AI, look at AI as your team of 100 PhD developers, because that's basically what it is in short. And this is the worst it's ever going to be. So imagine in the future, speaking of Mythos from, what's the company, Anthropic, they say that, the current Claude Code model, the Opus model, basically the Claude Code is known for, they said the new model called Mythos is like 1,000 times better. So I can only imagine what 1,000 times better than this is. Okay. So that's the templates area. I'm just showing you guys stuff that I use in my own business. Okay. And if you check my YouTube, you will see all these thumbnails posted to my YouTube. And I even have it to where it organizes the template area. So if I want to quickly go into different categories, I can say, okay, I want an educational thumbnail. You can go into YouTube-based thumbnail, reaction-based thumbnails. So it knows how to sort out the thumbnails, okay? And let's see what else. We could do bulk edit. So you can also import your channel if you go to new, I believe, yeah, go to new and then type in your channel ID. So let's do this in real time. So youtube.com/@busyworksbeats, and then we'll fetch the thumbnails from the last, I think, 30 videos or so. So this is the last 30 videos, thumbnails. And let's say, for example, I did kind of go ham on some of these. Let's deselect all and then go back to the fire ones, because I did kind of overuse this style too much, because I was using a different service to create thumbnails, and I didn't know which template to use, because when I went on that website, my main thing that we get caught up on is which template to use. But now I have a system that doesn't use templates. It gives me the idea and then it creates a thumbnail around the idea. So I don't have to worry about templates as much unless I want a specific template. So here I overuse the fire thing. Okay, so let's go to create bulk edit. And we should be able to click in here. And then I can basically generate new thumbnails based on different psychological triggers. Okay, and I can just click generate, or I could set the psychological trigger. So for example, big X to plug, I might do, let's do step by step and hit generate all, just to see what these come up with. And I should be able to navigate away and come back. Now, I don't know if okay, so that didn't work. So I can't navigate away. So that's not what I'm going to do. So we're going to keep it here. I'll just pause the video. But as it's generating, you guys can see there's clickbait, there's clean and professional, there's mystery based thumbnails. These are all based on different hooks and different psychological triggers. There's before and after. Listicle, like top 10 so-and-so. There's hot take controversial ones, step-by-step tutorial, dark and cinematic, very moody, kind of introspective, forbidden knowledge, meaning like usually like blurry images, identity attacks, so self-concept disruption. I haven't even seen that one yet. Pattern interrupt, which is just going against the average thumbnail. Us versus them. So it goes through all the psychological triggers, okay, and does it for us. Now this one looks like it created out of the dimension, so I got to figure out why that happened. Now I've noticed this bulk edit does like a lot of text, so I have to also tell my tell Claude basically that it just generates a little too much text. But as you guys can see, it's doing thumbnails for the videos that we highlighted. So if I want to edit it, I just click on this and edit it. Now that's not big X to plug, for example, so we were going to have to go in here and make sure that it actually has the reference image. So little small things like this I have to go back and address, but the fact that it gave us all this variation in a matter of seconds is the cool part. And I also have to tell it to follow the dimension coherence. All right, so it knows Sam Altman. Okay, that's cool that it implemented that. I might use that one. That one actually has a little bit more awareness, the West Coast formula. So some images in Google, they still look kind of archaic, but as the image generation models get better and better, we can implement, we don't have to be focused on Google. We can focus on the ChatGPT's image 2 model, for example, and you could have different image generation models. So it's not that we're bound to one or another. I just want to show you guys how important this system is though. Let's click in here and now we see West Coast mixing step by step. I really don't even need to upscale this, but I'll upscale it just to have a higher definition, and boom, we have a new thumbnail just like that. So that is the process. So I can go back to thumbnails and it should have all my thumbnails in here that were generated. Okay, so again, this Kanye West one is way too much text going on and it just looks too green and too cybery. So I would just have it redo that, for example. And then you have a whole asset library. Now here's where you can label things. You could right click stuff or you could just tag stuff based on what it is, and it will sort it by these different columns. I'm probably going to add another column where it says celebrity, so that way we can have a quick draw for celebrity. So I'm going to do that next. There's a video area where you can actually generate video. Now we were using a very specific API, but I'm actually going to switch it now. The Seed Dance 2 is public. We're going to switch the API, but it just shows that it's model agnostic, as they say. Meaning we don't have to rely on just one company to deliver the components. We can switch them out. So this will be something I'll change soon, because Seed Dance 2.0 is officially available in the USA now. Now it will cost more to generate video, and it's a little bit more hands-on when it comes to video. So this I haven't developed all the way, but basically what you do is you just type your request, hit generate video, and it generates the video just like that. Let me see if there's a history tab. So I didn't keep my history as well, so I need to fix that. Long story short, let's go to the command center. This is where we can talk to different AI models, either locally or through cloud-based APIs. For those who understand what that means, you could download different models on your computer and talk to them locally. So let me see if I even have these loaded. I'm not sure what, let me see what I even have. So I'll say test, and it should reply if I have this all set up. I'm not sure if I deleted the models or not. So it says, okay, let's test it out. Just to confirm, you're testing my capabilities within the BusyWorks Beats YouTube thumbnail generation app powered by the powered by the Gemma 3 latest model running locally via Olama. All right, so it says, what would you like to do? Okay, so I'll say, how fast can I get 1 million subscribers? Let's just see if it even can understand my question. Now, some of these can access the web. I forget every single feature of every single AI model, but let's just see what it has to say. All right, so the main thing that I need to work on is the memory within this app so that it remembers our conversations, the thumbnails generated. Okay, so it says, okay, let's tackle this. Predicting subscriber growth is really complex. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Here's a breakdown. It says initial growth 6 to 12 months. Realistic goal is 50,000 subscribers at the max. Okay, so it goes through its whole game plan. So this is just a chat bot, nothing complicated. It's not agentic. It won't do stuff on your behalf. One thing I am building out, however, is the agentic portion to this app. So where I could tell it to organize my downloads files, and it will. Okay, whereas right now it just gives advice. It doesn't actually do stuff, but that's the next step for this command center. So hopefully you guys can see how complex this is. And this is just the very beginning. Okay, it could even do market research. You can look at competitors. Let me show you guys some of this. You can do market research. So if you type in a keyword, it will look up, let me see if I search FL Studio, for example. I think it gives you the keyword volume per month and the cost per click if you were to ever run ads. So it gives you that. This is based off of an API called Keywords Everywhere, for example. Pretty straightforward. It just gives you the keywords to target. In this case, okay, clearly FL Studio gets way more traffic than all these other keywords. So why would I target these? All right, then if we go to competitors, for example, I've added fellow YouTubers to this chart to see kind of where we all sit. Now the data, understand that YouTube data is free up to a certain point, and then you have to pay for it. So as you guys saw, it was 0 at first, and then it repopulates with the actual information. Okay, so you can see kind of where you sit in this sequence of competition. So you can say, okay, this person's getting 2 million views a week. What are they doing? This person's getting, I don't know, 30K a week. What are they doing? This person's getting, so you could kind of look around and kind of stay competitive. So that's another advantage. We also have this chart. Now, what I can do is turn off Rick Beato because he's just a monster and just throws off everybody's data. Okay. So let's turn off Rick Beato's data. And then now we have a line chart showing us kind of who's actually getting the most views in that area of time. Adam Neely looks like he's leading the pack here. And then in the mix has a little spike and then it dips. So you can kind of see where you sit in terms of hierarchy. All right, so BusyWorks Beats kind of floating. I haven't been putting out videos, so I don't have high expectations. But then it says top videos from the competition. If you guys want to create something in the likeness of, you can kind of remix those, do your own thing. So see how I'm building my own. I'm like, this app is like 17 apps in one. It's my own vidIQ. I said, why am I going to vidIQ to pay for an API call that they're basically sending? They're just basically, for vidIQ, we are paying for the ability to ask YouTube for data. That's basically what we're doing. It just has a fancy interface. I said, why am I paying a company as a middleman to just pay for the same API? Why don't I just pay for the API myself? Not only does it save money, but I can customize how I want this stuff to look. It makes more sense. And then I even have custom areas where it says weaknesses and opportunities from other channels. Certain channels are declining, certain channels are dropping off, other channels are inconsistent. So I could target those topics and try to be a little more consistent for the audience to deliver. So it gives me different things. Okay, trending, who's trending and why, it goes by views per hour. You'd be surprised how much information you can get from the YouTube API. All right, so man, there's just so much. There's a video ideas area. So basically this will show me, and I even customize this to where it's not just like general ideas. It's based off of psychological groups. So I can say, okay, curiosity gap. And we could sort it by prediction, which means if it says very high prediction, we could, choose these a little more likely. And I thought I had a generate button in here, which I think I forgot to add. So basically, if it only gives you 5 ideas, I could say generate more. I'm going to add that soon. So you guys can see these little incremental changes can expand our ability to just become monsters in productivity. And this is actually applicable stuff that we can actually use. Like I said, I've just basically built my own Photoshop. I've built my own vidIQ. I've built my own Social Blade for keyword research, or Moz.com. I built my own bulk editor. I'm not even sure which site even did bulk editing. Okay. I built my own video generation. So we're talking about 5 apps or 5 companies I would have to pay hundreds of dollars a month to access. And I'm doing this in a matter of tens of dollars, maybe. Okay. So, and also I have this feature where it says opportunities. So opportunities goes through all those characteristics of market gap and psychological triggers, and it just gives me, it feeds me stuff that I can focus on. So you guys will be seeing these videos soon on my Busy Works Beats channel. AI beat making workflow. Okay, FL Studio versus Ableton. Boom. Suno versus UDO. The plugin that replaced everything in my studio. Why your beats sound amateur. Just basic stuff that I cover a lot anyway, but just reframed. All right, and then I can sort by demand. I can sort by the low competition or the potential revenue estimations that the system thinks I'll make. So for example, this says 7.2K a month. That is a little extreme, but it says make 10K selling beats online. And it thinks that if I made that video, the video would earn a lot. So we didn't even tap into the business side of, okay, that's just, and now this is all mock data. So one day I'll go through the business side, but the point is, on the business side, it's mock data, I mean. But on the business side, you have your own dashboard, for example, analytics. We're talking about like 10 companies in one, you guys. And you could build this for yourself. I just want to encourage you to build something for yourself. Use Claude Code. Build something for yourself, okay? Even if you spend $100 a month, that's $100. This would cost me thousands of dollars per month to run, all these different SaaS companies, just like that. So you'd be surprised how cheap the API calls are. Long story short, Claude Code will help you guys work through so much stuff. And I can literally have my business, for example, click a button, answer all the customer emails, click a button, process all the refunds, click a button, do a Twitter post, click a button, whatever macro you guys could think of. It simplifies it because it's agentic in a way. Once you add the agentic element, it could do stuff on your behalf. And that's the cool part, is that you're literally building a digital business without leveraging any of these other tools and wasting money on headcount. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I know that was a little all over the place, but this app will be shaped up over time. One day, potentially, I'll be able to ship this app to you guys, and it will be a paid product because I'll basically be franchising my entire systems operations. So one day, but till then, I'm still working on things, as you guys can see. Thank you guys for watching. This game from BusyWorksBeats.com. Peace.